You are now in tune with
Mamba Radio.
What up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into Brown Mamba Radio. For those out there who don't know, my name is Jackson, and happy Monday to all you guys out there. Hopefully you enjoyed your weekend, and it is March 26th, so that means happy Air Max Day to all you guys out there. Hopefully you guys are rocking your favorite pair of Air Maxes out there. I know I will be today, rocking some infrared 90s, and already get into it. Drop a link below or drop a comment below or anything like that. Let me know what kind of Air Maxes you guys are going to be rocking today. So yeah, got a lot to say today, not a whole lot of time to say it. Pretty busy day ahead of me today, so I'm going to try to keep this one short and sweet as we recap everything that happened in the last week and over the weekend. Apologize for my nose sounding the way it is. I don't know why it's like that right now, a little more than usual, but bear with me. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep this thing short and sweet, go through everything. Everything that happened in the world of sports and all that stuff. But I'm going to get to the sports a little later. Start with a lot of the current events that happened because some pretty important stuff happened over the last week. Starting with the March for Our Lives movement with the kids from the students, I should say, not the kids. They're definitely a lot more mature and a lot more adult-like than some people out there. But the students from the Parkland area of Florida, from Stoneman Douglas High School, who helped organize the, like I said, the March for Our Lives movement that happened over the weekend, where they obviously were, standing up for and looking for new gun reform or gun control reform and changes, because as we all know, the terrible incident that happened at the high school in Florida a few weeks ago now, where it claimed the lives of 17 people, I believe 14 students and 3 adults or 3 faculty members. Just very, very sad. And, shout out to those kids or those students for, not wanting to, being the change they want to see in the world. I always praise that on the show here on the podcast. That's the biggest thing. If you don't like something, and you want to see it change, or you want to see something done about it, then you got to go out and do it yourself. It was beautiful to see, so much support for them, not just for them, but for the people who, maybe are afraid to stand up and speak up for themselves, and all the people who have been affected by gun violence. All the people who, who have directly or indirectly been affected by gun violence. And, and it wasn't just here in America, United States, even though it is not as big of an issue in a lot of other places in the world. It was very inspiring and very motivational to see so many people from all around the world, standing up for and supporting this movement as well. And it wasn't just, Americans who were in the foreign countries. It was actual, foreign country citizens, who also feel like things should change, So, like I said, just very, very motivational, very, very inspirational from both the support that the people around the world have showed and from the students themselves. Those speeches were amazing. I didn't get a chance to see all of them. Obviously the Emmett Douglas one was very very raw and very very powerful, but from everyone else, like I said, it's very, very encouraging to see, to get a glimpse of what our future can be like. I know I joke around about a lot where it's a lot of people joke about how maybe how lost our youth is, and how scared people are for the future because they just think most of our kids are just dumb kids on the phones, just looking at memes and, watching fucking Jake and Logan Paul videos and slime videos and like, fake prank videos and shit like that, and doing, weird stuff like that. And people, and then, so people are, to be fair, that is what most of the kids are doing. But like I said, it's good to see. It's like I said, it's very encouraging to see that there's also a lot, just as many kids out there or many students out there who, want to, see some good change in the world. So, like I said, it's very, very touching, very inspirational for me as someone who, tried to get involved with stuff like that when I was younger. I didn't do my best. I know that. But like I said, as someone who was, tried to, be a proponent for change and for just being an all-around good person, and to all the people out there who are trying to slander and libel, these students for trying to, have a positive impact on the world, shame on you, trying to twist things the way they are, to make them look like they're bad people. Like, come on, seriously, that's just, come on. Like, it's sad when common sense isn't so common, especially with the people who are supposed to, serve us and run our country and stuff like that. So it's very sad. And speaking of which, I also wanted to kind of not spin this, but something else that came from this. Obviously, like all the twisting of the which media is doing it, the twisting of the stories and of all the stuff like that going on. There was a situation with one of my favorite rappers who, I'll admit I don't listen to as much of his stuff as I'd like to, but as far as just as a person, I really, really, really like Killer Mike. He is a great interview. He's a very well educated, like I said, he is a rapper, but he's just more than a rapper. He's an activist. He's an organizer. He is, he supports his local community in Atlanta. He not just supports the local community, but he tries to just branch out and support all black people. He tries to end racism, and he tries to just end oppression overall, and just try again, just trying to be a good person. And he is a little controversial for some of his takes, especially on gun ownership and stuff. And so he is very, very, very pro Second Amendment. He's very pro gun ownership, especially with black people and the black community. And if, like I said, I'm not going to speak for him. Just go looking for interviews on him and let him talk about it. But he's been in the news lately because he did an interview with the NRA. And when they released it on the day of the March for Our Lives movement, and they, in typical fashion, spun it to look like propaganda to make it seem like he's against everything that's going on, which he's been very outspoken about it. He is not. And it makes him seem like he's an enemy to the students and to the movement and to all that stuff, which, like I said, when I watched the little clip that they posted and stuff, I watched it, and the whole time I was just very confused because the stuff that they're making it, like I said, they made it seem like he was against it, but he didn't really say anything about them. And then all he was just talking about was, look, all he was doing was stating stuff he's already stated before in the past. Well, he's like, I'm a very big proponent of black people owning guns because we need to protect ourselves, because they've only been, I'm just quoting him when I say this. He's like, because we've only been free for about 50 years, and even less than that for some, if you really truly believe that, So he's like, he's saying that black people need to arm themselves to protect themselves, which again, like I said, I'm not saying that we need to take all guns away, but just kind of, we just need to limit the amount of guns that we can have. I don't think a civilian needs, an AR-15 or an AK-47 or an M16 or, some crazy double barrel shotgun or something like that, just chilling around their house for any reason. So that video came out, and it made it seem like he was, pro NRA, anti, Parkland students and all this stuff, and he was getting a lot of shit for it on Twitter and on the internet. And like I said, I wanted to hear him say something first before I had an opinion on it, because like I said, it just didn't sound right, didn't seem right. And then of course he comes out and he says, hey, listen, the NRA just completely twisted it around and made it seem like he was against it, because he's not against it. He supports the students, and then he explains all of it. Go watch his videos. It's on his Instagram, it's on his Twitter, all that. And the main thing with Killer Mike is he goes on. It's like I said, because it makes sense to me because again, I follow him more as the work he does outside of rap and hip hop, and so he goes on every single platform he can to speak about this stuff and to speak his views and his ideologies and stuff like that, because it's like it's the same philosophy I have, where it's, you might not agree with me or you might not agree with some of the stuff I say, but let's have a conversation and talk about it so that way we can both learn. So, you know what I mean? You can learn from what I have to say, I can learn from what you have to say. So he doesn't just go on, he doesn't just look for a confirmation, he looks for information. So he doesn't just go on stuff that supports him. He'll go on, he's been on every hip hop radio station talking about stuff, but he's also gone on the stuff like The View. He goes on CNN, he goes on Fox News, he goes on all these things, and he doesn't try to get into a debate with people, he just tries to speak with them. And, this was another one of those situations where he wanted to go to the NRA in a video with them and just talk it out and explain, like, listen, like, yes, I do support black gun ownership. And he's like, and here's why, because he wants to get it out to people, because it's like, he's like, we need to do it responsibly, we need to do it legally, we need to do all that stuff. But when you do that, you always run the risk of falling victim of what happened to him in this case with the NRA, where you go on their platform and they spin it to fit their agenda. And that's what happened with Killer Mike. And like I said, he figured it all out somewhat, but he issued an apology and he issued a statement, clearing all this stuff up in the way that only he can, because like I said, he's a very, very, very smart guy, very educated, very thoughtful in his words. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up and show some support for Killer Mike in this situation, and show some support for, like I said, just overall support for the students. We stand with you guys. We're gonna try to do everything we can to fix this problem, and not just this problem, but all the problems that we have in this country. And like I said, it's gonna take a few small steps, but like I said, we're slowly, hopefully we're getting there. And yeah, so on from one. I hate to see it. Just this is sad that I think this is what's dominating my my show on this one too. From one tragedy to another, we had the incident down in Austin, the bombings in the packages and stuff, and eventually, and then which there were about 5 or 6 bombings. I believe 2 people died. Very sad situation, and it turns out that the person who was responsible for the bombings, of course, was because he's white, not a terrorist, and so, or not labeled a terrorist, and he was just a kid and a good kid, and who's going through a troubled time or whatever bullshit they make up for for them being white, and being a terrorist. But the kid, he just made IEDs and plant and drop them on people of color, and with the intent to hurt them and terrorize them. And he did that, and like a fucking coward, he killed himself when he was about to get caught. So first of all, good riddance to him, and second of all, shame on everyone for not labeling him a terrorist like he is. And it's just this. And then for everyone out there who doesn't understand why there's the Black Lives Matter movement, why there's people complaining about white privilege, why there's people complaining about all this stuff, this is reason why. And it piggybacks onto the incident in Sacramento with the Stephen Clark. I believe Stephen Clark. That is an incident. It's just like that kind of stuff where the kid who killed everyone in the Parkland shooting, they arrested him cordially and everything. But then, an incident when he murdered 17 people, but an unarmed black guy who was in his own backyard and had a cell phone in his hand was shot 20 times. 20 times. Tell me how that makes sense. I'll wait. Because you can't rationalize it. And everyone's going to say, and for everyone who says, it's hard being a police officer and this and that and all that. Listen, I know it is. It's very tough. But again, the great American philosopher Chris Rock said it best. people are always trying to say that when this stuff happens, oh, it was just a bad apple that, blah, blah, blah. But he said, which you should go watch in his stand up, sometimes for some jobs, there just can't be any bad apples. And that's just the way it goes. There cannot be bad apples. Police officers are one of them. I work in a hospital. There can't be any bad apples in a hospital. I work around nurses, doctors, surgeons, techs, all that stuff. We can't have any bad apples or else bad stuff happens. And like I said, in Chris Rock's comedy, in his bit, he says there can't be any bad apples. He's like, imagine if there was a pilot who was a bad apple. And he just says, for everyone that flies a plane normally, obviously they land them correctly and stuff. But it's like, what if there's just one bad apple who says, I'm just gonna crash this plane into a building or into a mountain? And then what are people gonna say? Oh, he was just a bad apple. No, they're gonna get on them and shit's gonna go down, and they're gonna make a big fucking deal about it because it is a big fucking deal. And the reason why, the stuff like Black Lives Matter and all that stuff happened is because they just sweep shit like this under the rug, where it's just become not a big deal anymore when a police officer murders a person of color wrongly. So that's the thing with that, and then on the flip side, when there's someone who is a criminal and a terrorist, like the Parkland shooter, like the Austin bomber, they're not labeled as criminals. They're not labeled as terrorists when they are. And that's the fundamental issue of what's going on. So, good riddance to him. Good riddance to the Parkland shooter. He's going to go away for a very long time. I just wanted to, like I said, just get that out there. And the narrative needs to change. We need to start calling spades spades. We can't allow any more bad apples. And this stuff all piggybacks off of each other. With the whole March for Our Lives situation, there can't be any bad apples in there. There can't be any bad apples, like what happened in Sacramento. And, like I said, we just got to start holding each other accountable in order to see some change, And, it's like I said, it's depressing in one sense, but, if we can take this sadness and, channel it and take that energy, that negative energy from it, and try to channel it through to create positive change, then, I think that we can, a lot of good can happen from it. So, cause what's that corny saying? The night is darkest just before the dawn. So, I hope things can turn around, hopefully soon, hopefully for the better. And based on what we've seen so far, especially with the March for Our Lives thing that happened this past weekend, it looks like, things are looking very encouraging. So I'm happy about that. So that was all the serious stuff I want to get out of the way. Now to get to the silly stuff, or the not so serious stuff, in the world of sports. Quickly going over with March Madness. The Final Four is set. We've got Villanova, Kansas, Michigan, and everyone's favorite Cinderella story in Loyola Chicago, holding it down. And then they're going to be taking their talents to San Antonio for the Final Four over the weekend. And it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I have not watched a whole lot of basketball. I will admit, and it's just because it's at this point, especially with, I mentioned in the last episode, it's like, is it a good thing or a bad thing that so many underdogs are in it? Because it made for some pretty. So there were some close games. I saw the highlights and stuff, but there were some pretty decisive games. And games that went the way they should have went, as we can see with two number ones squaring off in each other in Villanova and Kansas, and a number 3 seed in Michigan, and the one underdog remaining in Loyola Chicago. So, we'll just have to wait and see. You know what I mean? This is always a real fun time, especially especially when it gets down to the later parts of March Madness, like we're at now. So like I said, it's gonna be fun. Good gambling going on. So make sure you guys get your bets in and stuff like that with all that before the odds change. So yeah, like I said, that was March Madness is almost coming to a close, and then just quickly with the Lakers and the Clippers, you know, with the Lakers, after losing to the Pelicans in a game that arguably they should have won, they came back on Saturday to beat the Grizzlies, or what, Saturday? Or was it Friday? I think it was Saturday. Saturday to beat the Grizzlies. So no IT lately, which, like I said, if you know me, not a big deal to me. It's just fine. And I don't mind it at all. But hopefully Ingram can come back pretty soon. I know he's been, they're trying to save him, make sure that there's no further damage going on. Especially the way we've seen some guys have nagging injuries and the way they've been treated, like Kawhi, for instance. They try to rush him back a little too early, and he kind of messed it up a little bit more, and he was sidelined a little bit longer than he wanted to be. So like I said, take as much time as it can for Ingram. Say what you want about him. I know a lot of people aren't as big of fans of him as other people. But you know what? He's on the team, and he's all we got right now. So can't risk losing him or losing any trade potential with him. So like I said, hopefully he comes back when he's ready to come back. He'll come back. Yeah, they play tonight against the Pistons, and then finally they come home later in the week. I'm gonna try to check out at least a couple games while they're here for the rest of the season. So that's how the Lakers have done. Moving on across the hall to the Clippers. Back and forth, a little back and forth with their wins and losses in the last week or so. They're trying to hold down their own. They're trying to hold their own in this road trip. They're trying their best. They're trying to stay in the hunt. As right now, they're on the outside looking in. I think they're 10th in the standings. Yes, they're 10th. But like I said, it's pretty close. Those teams are all very, very, very close to each other, all within 2 games of each other. So for those last few playoff spots in the West. So like I said, the Clippers are trying their best. They may not be as good or as talented as some of the previous Clippers teams we've seen the last couple of years, but they're definitely trying about as hard as I've seen them try in a long time. Night in and night out, not just in the playoffs, obviously when everyone tries hard, but trying hard, night in and night out. And like I said, even though they're not as good, it's making them kind of fun to watch. Because it's always like, you always want to see, when you see a team that really gives a shit in a good way, not like in the way where Chris Paul's always yelling and complaining, or Blake Griffin's always yelling and complaining, Doc Rivers is always yelling and complaining. But these guys are just trying to get it done on the floor every night. Especially from guys you don't really see. Like, I still can't name, like, other than, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Will, and Teletovic, I don't really know who else is on the bench that these guys are playing. So, it's always good to see those guys get out there and, try to make a difference, make an impact. So, shout out to those Clippers. Like I said, if things go the way that they've been going, they're probably not going to make the playoffs, which is going to be, in my opinion, in the long run, a good gut check for them. As far as what they need to do to get better. No, like I said, it's up to you what you think it is, whether it's a change in the personnel on the floor, change in the personnel in the locker room, in the front office. That's up to you. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, as of now, they're on the outside looking in. They're going to be coming back home as well. The college games are all done over here at Staples Center. So like I said, hopefully they can, like I said, just keep things, try to stay in the hunt, keep things entertaining, and maybe squeak by and squeeze on into the end and steal that 8 spot from somebody. So that's how our local teams did. A quick thing on my teams: I am in the fantasy basketball finals this week, and of course, in typical me fashion, it's got to be in the league where there's no money involved. Apparently, no one in our league is paid up. So it's a little late to take money from everybody now. No one wants to pay up since they're out of it. So I'm just playing for pride, I guess. And like I said, of course, the one time I'm actually in the finals and I have a good chance to win, It's for pride and not for any capital. So, like I said, that's gonna be fun, I guess. We'll have to just kind of hang in there and see how things go. And then my other league, whatever, I don't care. I wasn't in the playoffs, so it doesn't matter. So that's how that went. And I just want to quickly recap Strong Style Evolved from New Japan Pro Wrestling, which was last night down in Long Beach. I was gonna go. I couldn't get work covered on Saturday. I slept in, and then it was kind of like a little too last minute. I was like, I don't know, I don't want to have to pay the money for it and not make it and stuff. And so I got a chance to watch it. I still recorded it and watched it. Great pay-per-view overall. Let me get that out of the way. Great pay-per-view. Started off kind of slow, but of course it was a 4-hour show. So I mean, for everyone that went, and kudos to you guys. Hats off to you for being able to sit through all that. But it was a good show. They started off with some local talent, against some other guys. They had some pretty good matches. Thought it was odd that the champ, Kazuchika Okada, was in a tag team match, but it did tease for the big match next week against Zack Sabre Jr., so that was cool. Yeah, like I said, it's overall good pay-per-view. Like I said, it started off a little slower than I think people were gonna expected. But once it hit towards the main events, when we saw Cody Rhodes and Marty Scurll against Guerrillas of Destiny, that really kind of got things going. And Cody Rhodes, man, Cody Rhodes and Marty Scurll, what good heels. And then just two good heels in the two completely different ways. Marty Scurll is the heel that everyone loves. Everyone is the heel that everyone loves to love because he's such a good heel. And Cody Rhodes is the heel that everyone loves to hate because he's such a good heel. So kudos to those guys for getting things going. And then, of course, the big singles match between for the U.S. Championship with Jay White and Hangman Page. Great match. I really, really like Jay White. Pause on that one. I just love that character. That guy is like super charismatic. Like I said, I love that character. And he's definitely changing the game right now. I know people are calling him like a Kenny Omega light. I get that. It makes sense. He has similar look, all that stuff, and similar moveset, whatever. But like I said, great match from those guys. Looking forward to see where that's going. Looking forward to seeing more Jay White matches. And then, of course, man, and if you didn't think Will Ospreay, was for real, Will Ospreay is fucking for real. All right, Will Ospreay's for real. Shout out to everyone who got to see the MF legend, Jushin Thunder Liger, in person. That's crazy. Even though it wasn't against Rey Mysterio, like I said, still crazy to see. But yeah, Will Ospreay, the aerial assassin, is really, really holding it down as one of the best cruiserweights. For those of you who don't know, they're cruiserweights, or they call them the Super Juniors over there in Japan. But yeah, it's just holding it down. Yeah, we'll get to see the Rey Mysterio Jushin Thunder Liger match soon enough. And then, like I said, that'd be cool to see another one against Rey Mysterio. So, like I said, we'll have to just wait and see. We'll get another good match. But then the match everyone's talking about, the tag team match between the Golden Lovers and the Young Bucks. Great storytelling, great drama, great in-ring work, great everything. I don't know if Dave Meltzer's going to give it 5 stars, but it's 5 stars in my book. It was great all the way through. Bunch of good false finishes, typical style, a bunch of big hard hitting. And yeah, just an overall great match. And an overall great pay-per-view or event. I don't know. Even though I'm upset I didn't get to go to the one in Long Beach, I will definitely be seeing you guys at the one that's going to be in San Francisco in July. I'll be going to that one. I missed out on this one. I can't miss it again when they're here in America. So, like I said, I'll catch you guys in San Francisco for that one. And yeah, speaking of wrestling, Daniel Bryan's back too. That's cool. I know I didn't get a chance to talk about it since it came out afterwards later in the week last week. Daniel Bryan's back, so now we're going to see where he's going to be going or what he's going to be doing. Probably going to be in some like tag match with Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Like I said, we'll have to wait and see. But that's big news. Big news. Daniel Bryan's back, so that's cool. And then other than that, that's about it for the WWE in wrestling, and that's about it for me. I gotta get going. So yeah, like always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for following along, however you are. Thanks for fucking with me. I really appreciate it. Just make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment if you haven't done so already. Make sure you tell a friend to do so as well. Spread the love. Appreciate it. And if you want to show some more love, or if you want to yell at me about anything, or you want to, I don't know, just tell me anything, ask me anything, do whatever. Follow me along on all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. It's Brown Mamba Radio. My personal stuff is JXCKSXNNN. That's 3 N's. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. Hopefully you guys, don't just have a good week, but you guys make it a good week. Good luck to everybody out there in their fantasy basketball finals this week. I'll be praying along with you guys. Happy handicapping to all you, to borrow a term from my man, the legend Cousin Sal. To everyone out there watching the Final Four and wagering some capital on those guys. Also, it's opening day on Thursday, so it's opening day weekend. See you guys at Dodger Stadium this weekend, hopefully. And again, don't just have a good week, make it a good week. Drink more water. Be kind to each other. It's easy to be nice. Likewise, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.